The latest Korean drama in 2025, Study Group. The first episode commentary is here. This is the most notorious gangster high school in Korea. Popularity depends not on grades, but fists. This is because the school is controlled by the son of a gangster boss. Even the principal has to act according to his mood. This man has explosive strength and is ruthless. In order to add new members to the family gang, he specially developed a campus fighting ranking software. Students want to graduate smoothly. Fighting has become the only way out, but only the top 3 in strength are eligible to be recruited by the gang. After graduation, they can directly enter the gang group to work. However, for those kind and weak students, this campus environment is an indelible shadow in their hearts. There was a teacher who couldn't stand it anymore, so he found the school bully to try to change the status quo of the campus. As a result, on the same night, the teacher was directly stabbed to death by a man in black. Just when everyone was living in fear of being dominated, a poor student appeared and completely broke this situation. In front of all the teachers and students in the school, he punched the school bully in the face. After a few seconds of stunned silence, the school bully immediately kicked back. He didn't know what kind of terrifying existence he had provoked. It turned out that this boy was a fan of Bruce Lee and had superb Chinese kung fu. You know, Bruce Lee used his best inch punch to knock his opponent back several meters away during his lifetime, breaking all the doubts and ridicules from the outside world. And this time, the boy also decided to imitate Bruce Lee's inch punch to teach this ignorant school bully a lesson. The boy's name is Ga-min. Although he is extraordinary in skills and his martial arts value is off the charts, but he was passionate about learning. He studied hard every day just to get into college. When he was in elementary school, he took the initiative to sign up for various cram schools. However, no matter how hard he tried, his grades were still the 3rd from the bottom. But Ga-min didn't give up. Since cram schools didn't work, he just hired a private tutor. But a poor student is still a poor student. After the exam, he was still the 3rd from the bottom in the whole grade. But he thought the reason for his failure was that he didn't work hard enough. So he started to study harder. Whether he was going to the bathroom or going to church, he would use fragmented time to study. But the harder he worked, his grade ranking dropped from the 3rd from the bottom to the 2nd from the bottom. If he continued like this, not only would he not be able to go to college, but even going to high school would be a problem. One day, he accidentally heard his classmates talking in the corridor, saying that there was a school that could direct admission to a high school. The excited Ga-min decided to apply for that school without thinking, but he didn't hear clearly. The last sentence his classmate said, it turned out that the school was the notorious Meteor High School. Ga-min, who didn't know why, enrolled in this school. However, when he opened the classroom door, he found that the students here were fighting and no one was studying. In the corridor, if you accidentally looked at someone, you might be greeted by others. If you don't want to be beaten, you can only lower your head and behave yourself. Even though this is a school full of hooligans and poor students, Ga-min's grades are still the 2nd to last here. He naively thought that his classmates' arrogant appearance was just an appearance and that they must be secretly studying hard. The next day, he decided, find a classmate who is easy to get along with, study together, help each other, look around, and finally lock his eyes on Se-hyun, who is quietly wearing headphones. Then he came to his side and invited him to study together. But before he could finish his words, the classmate ranked 173rd in strength challenged Se-hyun, who ranked 170th. All the classmates gathered together to watch the fun, but the weak Se-hyun didn't want to fight. Other classmates quickly reminded him that if he didn't fight well, the captain team would definitely cause trouble for him. Se-hyun had no choice but to bite the bullet and fight. The result was obvious. In the end, Se-hyun was beaten to the ground by a flurry of punches, and the classmate who defeated him was promoted from 173rd to 170th. After the battle, after the class was over, the students returned to their seats quietly. It happened that a new teacher was transferred to the class today. But what surprised Ga-min was that this teacher was none other than Mr. Lee, his former private teacher. But for some reason, Mr. Lee left without saying goodbye. At this moment, the students in the audience did not take Mr. Lee seriously at all. They continued to do their own thing. Some even threw a glass of water at her. The guy in front of him, named Hyun-woo, was currently ranked the best in the class. It was not that the new teacher offended him, but that a classmate accidentally farted and disturbed his sleep. Then, he slapped the other person without saying a word. When Hyun-woo was about to return to his seat after venting his anger, another boy started to scold him. As a result, a fierce battle began. Others ignored the teacher and ran to the side of the classroom to watch the fight. Only Ga-min and Se-hyun stayed quietly in their seats. It was not until Hyun-woo completely defeated the opponent that the class gradually returned to peace. However, Ga-min only cared about grades. Instead, he tried his best to please Se-hyun, who was an excellent student, hoping that he could become a friend who encouraged each other to study. However, Se-hyun, who could not even take care of himself, had no interest in dealing with this new student. But he could not resist Ga-min's various soft and hard persuasion. No matter where he went, Ga-min would follow him. In the end, Se-hyun really couldn't stand it anymore, and had to temporarily decide to teach him the questions he didn't know. The reason why Ga-min chose Se-hyun was that it's not just that Adai looks serious. He also keenly observed that Se-hyun had a turtleneck due to long hours of studying, and the wear marks on his middle finger due to frequent writing, and the short bangs he kept to avoid piercing his eyes during study. Most importantly, he saw the desire to learn in Se-hyun's eyes, so he wanted to form a study group together. Se-hyun thought it was impossible. Then he showed Ga-min the fighting rankings and told him that fighting was the real survival rule of this school. This school bully named Han-woo not only controlled the entire school, but his father was also the president of the largest gang in Korea. He created the fighting rankings with the purpose of making the whole school fight for the rankings. Those who ranked high would be recruited by him to join the gang. So there was no good learning atmosphere in the school. This was also the reason why Se-hyun didn't want to help him improve his grades. Ga-min then showed Se-hyun's good second-place score. He intended to continue to persuade him, but this only added fuel to the fire. Se-hyun was so angry that he tore up the report card and warned him not to look for him again. After the two separated, Se-hyun went to the bathroom and was still angry about being robbed of the first place. He couldn't help but curse a few words. He didn't realize that the strongest person in the class happened to pass by here. Then he was taken alone to the gymnasium warehouse. After being beaten up, Hyun-woo asked him to bring 200,000 won to school tomorrow. At this time, teacher Lee, who was cleaning up the garbage, heard the noise. She realized something was wrong and was about to enter the warehouse. Ga-min suddenly appeared and grabbed her. As the warehouse door slowly opened, Hyun-woo suddenly couldn't open his eyes. A man wearing a mask and holding a fire extinguisher walked in. Teacher Lee didn't know what happened. Ga-min came out holding Se-hyun. Then the two came to a garbage can. But Ga-min, who was rescued, didn't express gratitude. Instead, he complained that Ga-min shouldn't be nosy, because he knew very well he only needed to be hit a few more times to finish it. If he ran away like this, he would definitely be targeted more severely. Ga-min felt guilty immediately after hearing this. Then when Se-hyun was about to leave, he unexpectedly met Hyun-woo, who had been waiting for a long time. As soon as they met, Hyun-woo asked him who was the person holding the fire extinguisher just now. Then he punched and kicked him. But even so, Se-hyun, who was loyal enough, still did not give Ga-min away. But this loyalty also came at a price. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Ga-min stood up again. The reason why he has such skills is because he has been training with his family since he was young and is proficient in various Chinese kung fu. Hyun-woo was about to teach him a lesson, but he was knocked unconscious by Ga-min's punch as soon as he made a move. He couldn't get up at all. Then the injured Se-hyun slowly stood up. Facing the kind-hearted Ga-min's second rescue, he felt mixed emotions. When he went to class the next day, Ga-min unexpectedly found a notebook in his desk. It was the tutoring notes for wrong questions that Se-hyun sent to thank him. Just when Ga-min was about to step forward to thank him happily, Hyun-woo suddenly walked in angrily. He picked up a stool and threw it at him. It turned out that Hyun-woo had recognized Ga-min as the masked man from yesterday. This time he wanted to take away the thing that Ga-min cherished the most, which was the study notes just now. He didn't know that his action completely angered Ga-min, but his first task was to protect the notes. But Hyun-woo still didn't give in and played tricks on him. Even so, Ga-min's eyes were still looking for the notebook. No matter how Hyun-woo attacked, he didn't care. Until he watched the notebook turn into ashes, he couldn't bear it anymore. Facing Hyun-woo's attack, he just casually turned it into ashes with a few moves. He fell to the ground. The students watching the fight were stunned by this scene. They couldn't believe that the class leader was beaten like this by a new rookie. Hyun-woo was in a state of disgrace at this moment. He rushed forward to attack again, but was thrown out again. No matter how he attacked, Ga-min could easily resolve it. Ga-min just backhanded him a few times and knocked him 5 meters away. Hyun-woo was furious, so he picked up the burning school bag and threw it at Ga-min. However, what everyone didn't expect was that Ga-min's eyes were so calm that he immediately used a hook to hit the school bag, kicked him. Then, he picked up the destroyed notebook and apologized to Se-hyun. Seeing that a notebook made Ga-min so desperate, Se-hyun felt that this guy must be crazy. But when he saw Ga-min's sincere eyes, Se-hyun had to formally agree to form a study group with him. At this time, the school leader came in. Looking at Hyun-woo lying on the ground, the principal mistakenly thought that Ga-min was the bully who was causing trouble. He was ready to expel him. If it was normal, the principal would not pay attention to these things at all. But today, the Minister of Education happened to come to inspect. Facing the minister next to him, the principal took this incident seriously. Teacher Lee, who was standing by, said that there were serious problems within the school in order to protect the students. The Minister of Education saw that Teacher Lee dared to speak up for the students and said that she had not changed at all. It turned out that Teacher Lee had won the top spot in last year's teacher recruitment, but for some reason, she did not come to report. The minister saw that she was both virtuous and talented, so he gave her a chance to improve the campus environment. Teacher Lee then proposed to set up a study group, but the principal added a condition, requiring the members of the study group to reach at least 5 people within 2 weeks.